Well, hello again to all the boys and girls out there in YouTube land watching Georgia Beer Reviews back at you today with a live beer review. And what I'm looking at this evening is the Goodwood Bourbon Barrel Stout. Um, Goodwood Brewing Company is out of Louisville, Kentucky. This particular beer is 8% alcohol by volume and let's see, 33 IBUs. A little bit about this brewery. I went to their website here. They've got a pretty cool layout for their website. Every beer that they make is aged on wood. So this one is bourbon barrel aged. They have Louisville lager, which is aged on white ash. They have, let's see, a walnut brown ale that is aged on oak with walnuts. They've got a American pale ale aged on poplar. They've got a Goza that's aged on hemp. That one sounds really interesting. Spruce Tip IPA aged on spruce tips. You get the idea. So their thing is basically aging their beers to some degree. How long, I'm not exactly sure. They don't really specify, but aging their beers on some type of wood or in some type of barrel. So that's pretty cool. This company, a little bit about the company here. They are obviously, they're out of Louisville, Kentucky, which is a great area for whiskey, for bourbon especially. And they say, why do we take the extra time to wood age beer? Why insist on the same pure limestone water used to make bourbon? So actually, that's another thing about this company. It's slogan, they have labels. It says touched by wood, brewed with limestone water. So it says they've come to believe that what's good for bourbon is even better for beer. Our extra steps are kind of an homage to this region's distilling legacy and to those old barrels out there that still have so much flavor left to give. Sip on one of our freshly nuanced stouts, lagers, or ales, and we believe you'll think so too. Very cool. It does say that it doesn't really specify exactly when the company was founded, at least not on the website. What they do say, though, is that the gents behind Goodwood are some of Louisville's longest-serving brewing veterans, running production breweries here since 2001. They are now thrilled to branch off on their own. So it doesn't really say exactly when this company was founded, but the different brewers that founded this company have been in brewing since 2001. So that is good to know. I've never had any Goodwood beers before. I'm pretty excited about this one. If any of you guys out there, know anything about me, I've been doing the Stout Sundays for a while. Been really getting into the Imperial Stouts, particularly the bourbon barrel-aged stouts. So I'm really excited about this one because it is 8% alcohol and it is aged in bourbon barrels. For how long, though, I do not know. I've got the comments pulled up the way that I'm doing this live stream, but sometimes they don't pop up. So I'm going to pull this up on my phone as well, just to make sure that if anybody out there is watching, I will be able to view comments, hopefully. So anyway, there we go. So let's go ahead and crack this beer open and give it a pour. All right. Here we go, guys. And as I suspected, the comments, for whatever reason, are not showing up here, but they are on my phone, so I apologize about that. Let me try one thing here. Aha. All right, that seemed to work. Okay, so Dan Webster is watching. He says, "Hey, bro, Paul up in here." All right, well, thanks for thanks for tuning in, Dan. Appreciate it, man. I think you're one of my newer subscribers. I'm pretty sure I subbed to you as well. I'll check. If not, I will. Um, I believe you are the guy that was talking about whiskey, or was going to do a video review of whiskey on your channel. So I'll be looking for that. All right. Anyway, I gave this bourbon barrel aged stout from Goodwood a pour. It looks really good. It poured with a little bit thicker head. It's dissipated slightly, but it's a nice khaki head, very dark appearance, as you would expect with a stout. Really can't see through it, but the lighting, I mean, it's dark outside, so I can't really hold it up to direct light. You could probably, it's probably a really dark brown appearance, but it looks black right now. Looks like your average stout. 8% alcohol, 33 IBUs. It does smell very good. You're getting some dark chocolate notes. You're getting that nice roasted barley malt component, like a nice toasted bread note. Um, Maybe a slight bourbon type thing going on. I don't think this was aged in bourbon barrels for very long, because I've had some really like world-class bourbon barrel aged stouts recently, and it's instantly noticeable with some of those, but with this one, not so much. It just smells like a really good stout. I'm not picking up on any boozy qualities whatsoever on the aroma. Uh, so dark chocolate, toasted bread, maybe a little bit of a fruity thing going on with this on the aroma, which you do get with some bourbon barrel aged products. It's definitely malt forward, although I'm picking up almost on like a coffee note with this one. So there's a little bit of like, it doesn't say anything about being brewed with coffee, so I'm going to assume that that's from the hop. So there's a little bit of a like hop presence on the aroma. And it smells really good. So I'm excited to give this one a try. Cheers, and let's go ahead and get into this. Thank you, Dan, for watching live. I appreciate it, and commenting. Yeah, Scotch. It was one of my videos you were commenting on the Scotch, so I look forward to watching your review of that. If you haven't already posted it, look forward to it. If you have posted it, I'm going to go check it out right after I get done with this live review. So cheers. All right. It's very enjoyable. You're getting not so much dark chocolate on the palate. You're getting a super darkly toasted bread note with this one. It's really roasty, super roasty beer. There's a very slight, I do mean slight, bourbon barrel type thing going on with this, but this one has not been aged very long in bourbon barrels. I really don't believe it has. They don't specify on the label or on the website, but I really don't think they aged this one too long. It just long enough to get a little bit of that barrel presence and to say that it's barrel aged, but not enough to really increase the quality of the beer too much and add a lot of complexity. But there is that slight little almost berry-like note that I get with bourbon barrel aged stouts, but this one is very muted, and the bourbon barrel presence is very minimal. It is there. I will say that it is there, but it is minimal. And really, for the price point, I mean, I bought a 4-pack of 12-ounce bottles, 8% alcohol, barrel aged stout for $11.99, which I think was a great value. So really, it's not a bad deal. If it was, if it was aged for 6 months in bourbon barrels, obviously the price point would be much higher, but that's not the case with this. Uh, it's very good though. It's definitely very roasty, uh, very delicious. It is malt forward, but there's a significant bitterness on the finish, almost like a coffee bitterness. This one's not brewed with coffee, but there's a definite bitterness with this one on the finish. It is 33 IBUs, so that's getting up there. This is a pretty fresh bottling, so the IBUs are in full force right now. This one might actually be good to age for a little while, kind of diminish the hop presence a little bit, get more of the malt forward presentation, which I like with my stouts. But this one is very well balanced. It's very malt forward initially, but there is a significant hop bite on the back end to kind of balance it out a little bit, which is a good thing. It's not bad, but I do wish that there was a little bit more of that bourbon barrel presence with this one. But like I said, they really don't age it too long in the bourbon barrels, and for the price point, you wouldn't really expect that they would, because obviously they're trying to make a little bit of money by selling this beer, and time is money. So if they age this in for 6 months in bourbon barrels, they would obviously have to sell it at a much higher price point. Jacob Downey, thanks, buddy, for tuning in. I really appreciate it. He says hashtag super roasty. That is right. If you like really nice toasty beers, you'd really love this one. This one is it's a really great stout, and it does have that bourbon barrel presence on the palate. It's just not very strong, but it's very enjoyable. And I think I've already said this, but the alcohol 8% is completely non-existent with this one. You could just chug this down, no problem if you wanted to. And the body is also relatively light for an imperial bourbon barrel aged stout. It is on the lower end for an imperial stout, 8%, but it's still very drinkable, very crushable, as the kids like to say these days. And it does have all of those really good qualities that you would expect with a beer like this. Yeah, really, really good, guys. As a matter of fact, it's better than good. It's excellent. I was very happy to buy the 4-pack for $11.99 out of Louisville, Kentucky. So it's probably aged in some really nice bourbon. I just wish they had, and they may have a version. I was looking at their website a little bit. They do have a really extensive lineup. They do have a limited edition barrel series, but you could probably only get that in Kentucky at the actual microbrewery right there in Louisville, which that'd be a great brewery to visit. Definitely check out their website if you're interested in their beer. Goodwood Beer, I think it's goodwoodbeer.com. Doesn't actually say on the label, but if you Google Goodwood Brewery, it'll pop up and you can go to their website. But it's really cool because everything that they do is aged in a barrel or on wood, chips or whatever. So I think that's really cool that they age everything, and all of their beers originate they use the limestone water that is available in the area. So it's a natural water source. The limestone water that makes the great bourbon out there in Louisville is also used to make all of their beers, which I think is cool. I like their marketing approach, and I think that this is an excellent beer. For me, it's on the lower end of excellent because I've had some really, really awesome imperial stouts, bourbon barrel aged imperial stouts lately. And they're just so above and beyond most things. But for the price point and to have that bourbon barrel aging for the stout, I think it's excellent. I'm going to go with a 91. A 91 out of 100. It's an A minus, but it's still an excellent beer, and it's really an A plus for the price point. You're not going to find too many bourbon barrel aged stouts, especially 4-packs. These are 12-ounce bottles. I bought a 4-pack for $11.99 because bourbon barrel aging takes time. and time is money. So the fact that they barrel aged it and that it turned out as well as it did, and that they can sell a 4-pack for $11.99, that's just incredible. The Whiskey Scout is tuning in. It says, "Hey John, thanks for tuning in, Robert. I really appreciate it. This is a bourbon barrel aged stout. I think you would like it." I drank some J&B Scotch earlier. We did an examination on Ron Ontario's channel, Louisiana Beer Reviews, and then I did a solo review on my channel. I thought it was okay. I mean, I gave it a B, but very basic product, and just kind of I don't know, for $18.99 or to $21.99 for a 750 ml bottle. I would just recommend buying Scoresby or Clan McGregor because they're a lot cheaper and they're very comparable to the J&B. But the J&B is an iconic brand, and it's definitely worth checking out if you're a Scotch drinker. But it was nothing spectacular, that's for sure. It's probably best served as a mixer in a cocktail, like a ginger ale and J&B with a little bit of lime or something like that. Like a lime wedge would be really good. But it was enjoyable. Wookie Brew, thanks for another awesome review. I'll have to try that one for sure. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Challenging the outdoors. What up, guys? He says, well, just enjoying a Goodwood bourbon barrel aged stout from Goodwood Brewery out of Louisville, Kentucky. Jacob Downey says, how would it pair with a chicken cordon bleu? Very well. For the most part, though, Jacob, with stouts like this, I find that they're best drink by themselves, because they do have a lot of flavor, a lot going on, and depending on what you're trying to pair it with, it might kind of interrupt your eating experience, because it's so, it's got so much flavor. It's a heavier beer. So for like a chicken cordon bleu, I would just drink like a good old lager or something like that. That's more light and refreshing and would complement the flavors of the chicken cordon bleu. This wouldn't necessarily do that. It's an excellent beer, but I wouldn't necessarily pair an imperial stout with a meal, just because it's higher alcohol. It's got a lot of flavor, and it might kind of interfere with some of the flavors that you're getting from the food. But it's still an excellent beer. But yeah, for this beer, I would just drink it by itself. This would be a good dessert beer. Drink it after you eat the chicken cordon bleu. Let's see. Whiskey Scout says, I like imperial stouts. Yeah, I think you'd really like this one. It is out of Louisville, Kentucky, so I get some really great bourbon out there, and it is made with the limestone water in the area, so that's pretty cool. They kind of make their beer like they make their whiskey, or at least this brewery does. Ronnie S., can I join? Man, I wish you could. This is just a review. I did the instant go live. I used the instant go live feature on my computer. I didn't set up an actual hangout, so I can't invite people, but I'm thinking about maybe just going live here after and doing like a hangout stream, kind of like Craft Beer Pours does. He hasn't done one this week, and I would be interested to do that. So I'll keep you posted. Just if you're going to be on YouTube the next 30 minutes or so, I might do that. And then you can join at that point. I'd love to have you, Ronnie. I always appreciate your support, appreciate you watching. So thanks for that. Dan Webster, look for my hometown brewery, Serta Brewing. I'll have to check that out. I'd be interested in trying their beers. I don't know if they're available in my area. I'm here in Georgia, so I don't know if their beers are distributed out here. But I'll check out their website, sertabrewing.com. And the Whiskey Scout, let's see, Robert. I think J&B is good, not great, but good. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I don't give specific numerical ratings for whiskey, only beer, but I did say it was a B. I gave a letter grade, a B. But the more I sipped on it, I I mean, the more I realized that it just really wasn't. It was very simple and straightforward. And for the price point, I was just surprised at that price point. I was expecting a little bit more from it, um, and I really just didn't get too much out of it. So I couldn't really recommend it to people at that price point. But it's still a B, but it was more on the lower end of the B range for me. Miss Diamond is tuning in and says, "Hey, John. Hey, Miss Diamond." Ronnie S says, "I think John should chug a beer." Maybe later, Ronnie. I might do that. All right. Miss Diamond is saying hello to everybody. Crankbait Crisis says, "Hi. Thanks for tuning in, Crankbait Crisis. Hello to you." And Dan Webster says, "I've been slamming Scoresby all night. Awesome stuff." So, yes, and Scoresby, at least in my area, is $9.99 for a 750 ml bottle, and that is just as good as the J&B that I had earlier, and it's a lot cheaper. So I would recommend the Scoresby over the J&B just for price alone. And Ronnie S says, "Hangouts with John would be great, brother." All right, well, you've convinced me, Ronnie. I will try to set that up here shortly. Joey T. Pan says, "I love bourbon and beer. This sounds delicious." Yes, bourbon and beer are delicious together, and a bourbon barrel-aged stout is just incredible. And this one is excellent. I've had much better, obviously, but those are aged like 6 to 8 months, and you're going to pay a heck of a lot more. So for a 4-pack of bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout, 8% alcohol, I mean, you really can't go wrong with this beer. I think it's great. And I definitely recommend checking it out if you can find their beers in your area. Definitely go check out the website, goodwoodbrewery.com. They have a lot of different beers, and they have, if you live in Louisville, Kentucky, and you go to the brewery, they have a lot of stuff that you can only get there that's probably even better, probably world class. So I would definitely recommend checking out that if you're in the area. Let's see, Jacob Downey. He knows Joey T. Pants. All right. I've never seen Joey T. Pants on here, but I'm glad that you're tuning in, Joey. I appreciate it. And Ronnie says, "Very informative beer reviews." Thank you, Ronnie. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this live beer review up just because that's what this is, a live beer review. I don't want to get too crazy. I've already been going over 20 minutes, but I will look for me, guys, if you're interested. I'll try to go live here shortly, and anybody that wants to join, I'll invite you guys on, and we can just hang out for a little bit. I won't be on too late, though. I've got to get up early for work, but we can, do a quick little hangout if that's something that you guys are interested in. But for this special edition live beer review, the Goodwood Bourbon Barrel Stout from Goodwood Brewery out of Louisville, Kentucky, gets a 91 out of 100 from me. So it's an A- beer. Definitely recommend it, especially at that price point. You're not going to find too many bourbon barrel aged stouts at that price point. So an excellent beer at a great price. That will do it for this live beer review. I really appreciate everybody tuning in the chat. You guys are the reason that I stayed on for almost 24 minutes. Usually with my beer reviews, I try to keep it definitely under 10 minutes, but more around, between 5 and 7 minutes. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in, and I appreciate it. Drunken One is tuning in at the last minute. He says, let's see, what does he say? He says, "But John, have a good night." Well, Drunken One, I'm going to try to go live here, I guess, in a minute and just invite a few people, and we'll hang out for a little while if that's something you're interested in. If not, no big deal. But like I said, I can't stay on too late. Got to work early in the morning. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That's it for this beer review, guys. 91 out of 100. Check out Goodwood Brewery. If you can find their beers in your area, I definitely recommend checking them out. This one is excellent and really great value for the price. So that'll do it, guys. Really appreciate everybody tuning in and commenting. It's hard to keep up nowadays with all these comments. I really appreciate it. You guys are great. And until next time, everybody, cheers.